Hi guys, welcome back to the Uncut Podcast. We're here today with the lovely Zoe
Hi.
Wave. Hey, lovely. It's a bit more of like a serious topic today. We're going to be discussing, so obviously due to the recent Sarah Everard case, rest in peace, thoughts and prayers are with her family. If there's anything that like any GoFundMe set up for her or anything, like I'm not aware of them, but if you want to like leave them in the comments, maybe let us know if there's anything we can do. But this just really made me think how things happen a lot like this, and then we are outraged about them for a week on social media, and then we just sort of, it just goes away. And I thought, no, I don't want that to happen anymore. And so me and Finton thought we'd get Zoe on, and it's basically Zoe's podcast today. It's her episode. She's going to be talking to us, and obviously by extension all you guys, about things that women face every day, different issues that men are just simply not aware of. And I just think it's going to be a really important, really good discussion to have, and hopefully you learn something from it. We can all grow from this. So, Zoe.
Yeah, so I wanted to preface this by saying that under like no means am I saying kill all men, I hate men, all men are bad. I'm not saying any of that, okay?
Of course.
But the statistic, because I'm a marketing student,
The notepad's out.
I get a load of access to like a lot of statistics that maybe it's hard for a lot of like people who aren't in marketing to find. So like we've got a massive website that we can find all of these from. So I basically used that to help me get some numbers. So first, I kind of want to like set the scene of what it's like to be a female. So bear in mind, these aren't from 2021. Okay, these are from last year.
Cool.
So because obviously we can't have 2021.
So these are from 2020.
2020.
A
Okay,
year where
2019, around that bit, you know,
Okay.
it's over 2 years. Okay, so what I've done is I've averaged the population, I've rounded it up. No, I haven't, I've rounded it down, ignore me. So the population is 66,650,000, okay? Keep that in your head, big number, a lot of people. Okay, the male population is 32,900. No, 32,900,000.
I was like,
I was about to say.
where are all these men going?
And then the UK female population is 33,750,000. Okay, so looking at the latest crime survey of England and Wales, not including Scotland or Northern Ireland, so that's two things we need to like preface. We're not including that. It said that like 1 in 5 women are going to be assaulted, or they're going to be a victim of either sexual assault, sexual harassment, or rape. Okay, there's your 3 things. There's a couple of like subsections I'll talk about in a little bit. Okay, so using that number of 1 in 5, I worked out that the amount of victims that we have is 6,750,000. Okay, 6 million.
Out of what was the population?
Just for the female one is 33 million.
That's
Okay,
crazy.
so this is not, but basically we also need to like take into consideration of the Guardian. And their little statistic of 97%.
97%.
So I haven't taken that one only because personally the sample size on this one was a lot bigger. So this basically goes out to practically everybody and they answer it themselves. Okay. But with the Guardian, it's only 1,000 people. So that's the reason why I've done this, because I don't want anybody in your comments saying, oh, well, it's, you know, like it was a sample size of 1,000 people. Like that's how samples work, you know? But
yeah,
anyway.
that's the point of a sample size, and then you size. Yeah.
But I also wanted to touch on men and men's sexual assault and harassment and how they are affected as well. So what I found, it's 4% of the male population have experienced assault, harassment, or rape. Okay, so that statistic is 1,316,000 men. Okay, which in comparison to women is quite a difference. Okay,
it's quite a day, like yeah.
But another thing that I found out was that there was a statistic that came out in 2019 that said that 1 in 6 men are sexual assaulters, harassers, or rapists. So
that is really interesting.
The number that I'm going to give is very, very high. Okay. So the number is 5,483,333 men.
Oh, yeah.
and that's just ones that have been reported, and the ones.
Say, a lot of stuff doesn't even get reported. Am I right? Like a lot of it.
A lot of stuff, especially for me personally, I have never reported stuff that's happened to me, only because, like, I've heard of stories, I've heard of people who like have proof, they have cases, they have CCTV evidence, they have rape kits that say they've been raped, and they bring it to the police, and the police don't do anything about it. And it's hard when you hear that something so severe as rape isn't taken as serious.
Definitely.
And obviously I haven't been raped, okay? But like, for stuff that has happened to me, if I wanted to go to the police, I would feel like if they can't take rape seriously, what are they going to take me seriously for? You know? But
it's really interesting that you say that. So you just literally, like, if anything was to happen, obviously God forbid in the future, you wouldn't even bother like going to the police because you just wouldn't feel comfortable.
I wouldn't try. Like, there's no point, because I'm yet to find somebody who's a female in my life who has not been subjected to sexual assault. Like, not one. I was asking my mum about it because we were having a talk about it, and she told me her earliest memory of her being harassed was when she was 11 on the corner of her street. A guy in her uniform, she'd just come back from school. She was waiting for my gran, her mom, to come out of work because it was like a little street thing. I don't know. It's what happened in the old time. She's ancient. But like, so she told me that there were like, it was the time when vans, like, I don't know if you ask your mom or your parents or something like that, they'll say something about vans and how vans started to be like kind of a scare. And like, you know, people would start being like picked up in vans and like taken away, and it started happening when we were kids as well. And I can remember vividly a story that I'll go on to. But she told me that a guy, he wound his window down in a massive white van, and obviously her 11 in her uniform, she's in primary school, okay, she was in primary school, and the guy was like, how much, as in like, how much would it take for her to have sex with him?
At 11 years old?
At 11 years old. She didn't even know what sex was. So well, obviously she'd heard stories on the news of, oh, so-and-so had been nicked by X. But I remember vividly, like, it was unbelievable what happened in primary school. I don't remember if you guys ever heard about this, but I remember in primary school being drilled into this as a girl. But there was a time when a guy was going around in Coventry in a van and taking kids coming out.
Yeah, I remember they told us that at our school.
You remember that?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was in the UK at this point, but
well, like, it was quite a big thing in Coventry. Like, everyone was quite scared to go. Like, but I remember the one conversation that one of my teachers had was to us girls. She didn't really say it to the guys because obviously, you know, they weren't preying on guys, they were preying on girls. I remember my teacher saying to me that in life, this is what happens to us and we just have to deal with it.
That's fucked up, man.
So
and that was when primary school. And there was a girl in my year, her sister, well, this was when I was probably about like year 4, year 5, around that. But there was a girl whose sister was in year 6, and she was one of the people that got taken or nearly got snatched, or like they were about to. And they were in year 6 in their uniform coming out of school. Already what is striking me, right, is I know quite a few people, men and women, and none of my male friends have ever had any of these types of experience that I know of. Like, and we're not like typical, like, we lads, we don't talk about our feelings. Like, no, like we discuss everything. Like, we're like family. But Zoe, in literally like 5-10 minutes of talking, you've said like your mom, your friend, and your friend's sister, and I'm sure there's more. Like, it is.
Wait until my story, guys. Wait until my story.
Like, and yeah, yourself. Like, it is insane how frequently it happens. And that just briefly, that was what shocked me the other day. Was I don't know if anyone watching knows about this, Davina McCaw's tweet about female abdication is really rare, and I was like, there's literally,
for the sake of the fact I haven't seen this, and for anybody that hasn't, Could you maybe
Okay.
go into
You want me
it?
to get the tweet up and just like quote
Yeah,
it?
go for it, man. It's probably
Yeah,
been
sure.
deleted now. But she basically said something like, female abdication is really rare, and this is like a day after the Sarah Everard case.
Yeah.
I hope I'm saying her name correctly. A day after this, she was saying female abdication is really, really rare, and that we shouldn't fearmonger as much as we do. But even if it is rare, which the statistics are showing us that it isn't
Yeah, it's
particularly
really not.
rare, I understand this thing of like I don't get where this not all men thing has come from. Like apparently it was trending on Twitter. Like
yeah, it was
I've
trending
got-
higher than. Go for it.
I've
Lee.
got the quote right now.
there we go.
Female abduction/murder is extremely rare. Yes, we should all be vigilant when out alone, but this level of fear mongering isn't healthy. And men's health and mental health is an issue as well. Calling all men out is as dangerous or is as bad as our. Davina's not making a lot of sense here.
That's what I'm trying to say.
All men out as dangerous is bad for our sons, brothers, partners. So I can understand what she's trying to say.
I get her point, but it comes across as pick me, pick me. You know what I'm trying to say?
I do believe that whole pick me thing it's not a good thing, especially when it comes to like topics like this. It's like sort because there's always going to be not two sides to the story, but like there's going to be two arguments of where's your proof? I believe you, I support you. You know, there's always going to be that. And to say, oh, did she pick you yet? Oh, did he pick you yet? You know, that's not helping anybody, because a lot of what I've noticed, a lot of kids that are saying, you know, where's your proof? Where's your evidence? All of this and the other. They're very, very young. They're young children who haven't, you know.
I mean,
they haven't, but
I do understand that sentiment of, well, where's the evidence, right? Because obviously there have been cases where people do lie and then people lie. But those cases where people do lie are much rarer than people just being honest. And I think coming at it, and I'm a believer of innocent till proven guilty and shit like this, but there are certain instances where necessary precautions should just be taken. Like if a woman comes to you and says that man there like has just assaulted me, my natural reaction wouldn't be, oh, just get on with it. Like I'd be like, okay, stay away from him, let's do this, let's call it. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah, absolutely. Like from my perspective,
where
I was just gonna say going on of what you said is like I would rather sit there and believe every single person and one of them turns out to be a liar than not believe the one person it actually happened to.
Well, if you're looking at the statistics, because I am a numbers person now apparently, but well, it's only like out of confirmed cases that have gone to the police, they are reports, only 3% are false. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
You need to take into consideration with that 3%, it's either because they are lying or there's like a lack of proof, or you know they can't find CCTV like you know footage, they can't find any witnesses, so they have to put it as a false conviction.
That's insane that they put it down as false conviction to me.
It's hard to explain because with sexual assault, sexual abuse and rape, it's very, very hard to convict.
Yeah.
In a court, because the way that our court works in the UK is there needs to be proof, and if there is not any proof, it's like if we see it with murder cases. Because Finton, I don't know if you know this about how much of a true crime buff I am, that I know pretty much.
Oh yeah.
I was literally watching true crime like just before this, but
talk about Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein in a little bit.
let's not get me onto that because the amount of stuff I have. But like even when it comes to murder, it's so hard to convict somebody if there is no body there. That like if there's no body that's been found, okay, it's very, very hard. So imagine, you know, having all the proof in the world and no body, okay? So that person can get out scot-free. But when it comes to sexual assault, sexual harassment, 9 times out of 10, it is one person saying something about another person, and it's like me against you kind of thing. Because CCTV can only go so far. It can't, like, you know, when you zoom in, it like something can look like something else, you know.
Rainy. Yeah.
And I do believe it is a massive, massive flaw in the system that, you know, like that we need, like, obviously we do need proof that you know, a guy or a girl has done something to somebody else. Like, that there needs to be proof. But in cases like this, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to whip out your phone and start videoing somebody raping you? Like, that's not how it works. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
And who's going to be raping somebody in the middle of the street where there's CCTV?
Yeah.
You will not that I'm like in the mind of a rapist or anything, but like, you will take them to an alley, you will take them to a park, you will take them to a dark place.
You do it somewhere you can get away with it. Like, that's so you don't get caught.
1 in 10 women. This is a US statistic because I couldn't find one for the UK, but the US one. So I presume that they're kind of similar-ish. But 1 in 10 women who are married or in a relationship are subjected to rape within their relationship. In the relationship. Because
that's really, really crazy.
Jesus.
And thank God, like, Alex, he's a good person. He doesn't rape me, you know. That's always a nice little benefit in life.
Thankfully, yeah. Does the bare minimum.
Yeah, he does the bare minimum, you know. He doesn't harass me. That's all I could ask for in a boy.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that we are asking for the bare minimum. You know, we are asking not to be raped. We are asking not to be catcalled in the middle of the road. Like, literally 4 days ago, okay, was it 4 or 5? 4 or 5 days ago. Can't really remember. I don't even know what day it is today. But at the top of my road, I was walking in complete, like, tracksuit. You know, I look like I sling coke for a living.
Nice.
But yeah, it was proper. But a guy stopped his car in the middle of the road, and bear in mind my road goes like that, so it's like he stopped in the centre bit, wound down his window and started shouting at me.
Really?
Me, can I go into his car? Can I do this, that, and the other? And I was like, I need to get me more milk. Like, please.
I don't understand what makes people think that is like an acceptable thing. Like, I was talking to my mum the other day about all this stuff, and I just sat there thinking, like, do you know what? Never would I be walking down the street. Well, obviously now I'm in a relationship, so I wouldn't do it anyway. But when I was single, I would never walk down the street and look at an attractive woman and go, "Give me your number." Like, even shit like that. Like, in my head, that is weird. Like, if you go up to me and you approach them nicely, that's one thing. But like shit like you just said, like, what makes people think, yeah, that's all right, that's acceptable, I can do that? That is so crazy.
Like, I remember last year in the summer, I got followed home by a guy, and honestly, it was one of the most traumatizing things I've been through.
See, to me, this is so shocking that this happens, like, to people that I know. Like, what the fuck? But the thing is I'm aware that these things do happen. Like, if I had like, I've said to my girlfriend before, like, when clubs open up again, for example, like, when you go out, if you're getting an Uber home, share the ride with me so that I know that you're okay, right? But like, why is that a thing that even goes through my head? Like, that's crazy that we live in this world. Like, what the fuck?
I remember last week, my Uber driver, he was being a bit, you know, a little bit with me, and I remember literally texting my boyfriend, like, you know, call me right now so I can.
Yeah.
But I don't know what he was doing, to be fair. He was probably off gallivanting, I don't know. But so ever since then, I've been even more petrified to go in an Uber. And this is the sad reality of women. And I don't know if anybody else does this, but I know I do this because of how petrified I am. What I will do, I do know a couple of other girls that do this, especially when they're coming out from a club and stuff, but I do it all the time. It might sound a bit grotty, but I'll explain. So what you do is, when you're in your Uber, you take a little piece of your hair, you pluck it out of your head, and you leave it there.
I've heard about it.
so they have DNA. So you know, if something ever does happen, a guy can't see a hair. He's not gonna, you know, think much of a hair if he's like doing something. You know, as long as you have DNA evidence that you were in that place, then I've always done it. And
did you do that like every time you get in an Uber? Like even if the Uber driver is like sound, doesn't even really speak, just in case.
Yeah, I always do it. It doesn't not matter.
Just from like from a like, I don't know if Gio you're saying this, but I've never had to worry about something like that. Like, and it's just mental. Like,
I never trust Ubers in the sense.
Oh no! I don't just mean in general, but it's in like I never have to be precautious. I've never thought about it.
I've never sat there like, yeah, I think it's likely that I'm going to get kidnapped, or I've never felt the need to take that level of precaution. Where
it's mad that you've had to. That's horrendous.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think I will get abducted. Okay, this, like, I'm not saying that, you know, all men are going to kill me. All men are like out to follow me, stalk me, and stuff like that. But the fact that in my life I've been followed more than 5 times, like whether it was just coming from home, coming from the shop, like talking about the story last year in the summer, I was coming from the park. I was, to be fair, I was on my own, so not that should even be an excuse.
Yeah, that shouldn't be something you have to say.
Not that that fucking matter, but you're on.
There was a guy who was also at the park, and I remember like thinking in my head, you know, that he's going to say something, he's going to do something, he's going to say something, because he was like, he was looking at me, and you know, different types of looks, you know, there's oh, I'm looking at you, Finton, oh, I'm looking at you, Gio. But if I'm like, looking at you, like, you know, you can kind of sense it.
Yeah.
And I remember walking off because I was like, I don't feel safe. I'm in a park. Although it's like bright daylight, I'm still in a park and I don't feel safe. So I remember walking, and I remember he got up and he started shouting at me and was like, hey, come here, give me your Snapchat, all of that. And I was like, no, I have a boyfriend, I don't really use social media, like blah blah blah. I use social media every day, like, come on guys. I would reply when I
that motherfucker.
And then I remember I had a bottle with me, because you know J2O bottles, like they're like glass.
Yeah.
I remember I had that, and I remember I had it in my hand, because I was like, if something's going to happen, I'm going to smash it on a wall and it's going to be sharp and I can do what I need, okay? Because I didn't bring my keys with me, because I thought, because this is the park literally up the top of my road. Like, if you know where I live, which is probably, no, are you? No, Gio, we live like pretty close to each other. So I have like 2 parks next to me. I have one that's a bit dodgy and one that's...
Wait, if that's the case, then you live near to me as well, because I live like 2 minutes from Gio.
God, we all live near each other.
Is one of
I'm CB2. I was about to put the whole address out then. I was like...
Don't give your postcode out.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
It's good you stopped when you did then.
I was literally 5 minutes away from my house, and this guy, he followed me, shouting at me across the road. No car stopped. No car, like, it was a busy-ish road, you know? It's not like one where it's like, you know, a side street, or it's like a normal, you know, street. This is like a busy road. A lot of cars do go down it. And no one stopped. I was there, like, pacing, like, zigzagging, because we get taught as girls to zigzag, to basically, like, I don't know why we get told to zigzag, actually.
Yeah, but, I don't know what is...
I don't know. I
started
zigzagging. I think it's like if cars are coming past and they see somebody zigzagging, I think they know or something. I don't know. But I remember hiding down an alley, because thinking like he'll just go straight past and I can just, you know, go down the alley, cut through it, and walk the long way round. And he looked down the alley, looked at me. He was like, "Oh, do you do drugs?"
What the fuck?
I was like, "What? No, I don't. No, I don't." I'm
only on weekends.
No, I don't do drugs.
No.
But like the guy, I remember where he lives, because he lives literally at the top of my road. Like, I remember I stayed there. I ran so quick. He was running after me. I ran. So, like, it was just like
what?
that.
What? Whoa. So this went from him following you, which is already weird, to he actually chased you.
Yeah. And then I was like, you know, calling everyone. I was like, I don't pick up the phone, please. Like, all my friends. Like, just one of my friends, well, I'm not really friends with them anymore. Long story. Doesn't need to be explained. But I was on the phone to her, and I was like, please, please, you live near me, come pick me up in your car. Like, I need, you know, a bit of a red alert. But yeah, I remember calling absolutely everybody. I remember coming into my, you know, up onto my street, and I don't know where I hid, to be fair, but I must have just hid in like somebody's garden or something, which isn't great because I was trespassing, but
well,
given the circumstances, yeah.
What can you do? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I remember I think I hid behind a bush. I don't know what I hid by, but like I remember hiding in somebody's garden, but like behind something. And I remember like peeping over and saw him going into a house. So I assume he lives there, but still, like, I remember them waiting there for about a good 5 minutes to make sure that he wasn't peering through his window, that he wasn't peering through his door, that he didn't have like a camera on his window videoing. You know, I had to make sure. And then I remember just coming out and pelting it down my street. And like, I remember coming through the doors, my mum being like, "Are you okay?" Like, because I was trying to cook her. Oh, I've been rambling.
It's fine. We can do a new meeting in a minute.
That's the whole point.
But, and I remember my mum being like, "What's happened?" And I explained it to her, and I just broke down, just crying, because it was just like, it's traumatizing. And I could have gone to the police. I could have been like, blah 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 blah. But what would that do me?
Well, I was gonna say, I think that's a lot of people's reaction initially is, well, why didn't you tell the police? Why didn't you tell authority figures? But then, like you were saying earlier, a lot of the time they don't really care. They don't really do anything. Well, not that they don't care, but there's not maybe much they can do without certain evidence. Maybe it's, I'm not like defending the police, but like I know a policeman and he's one of the loveliest people I've ever met, and he would do anything he could for people. So I don't agree with this narrative that all cops are evil, for example.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that.
But maybe there is an issue, first of all, within the police force, and then also within just our system of law that does prevent these things from being taken more seriously. And I think as well, like, because like, let's be honest, a lot of these laws are passed by men.
Yeah.
They're almost there to protect. Because we know, like, you know, we know from looking at, without naming names, certain members, certain politicians, certain royal family members, Prince Andrew, we know that there's people in really high up positions of power. I mean, that do fucked up things.
But I did go to the police about one situation before. I have been to the police about something before, and it happened with somebody who was in our school, Binton. I'm definitely not naming names for this one, but I remember the police coming to my house, me showing them proof, giving them my story, telling them, having witnesses, and all they told me was, well, boys will be boys. We're going to go over to his house now, tell him that that's not great. You shouldn't be doing that. And that was it. So I've had to live with that and deal with that. And that's why I won't go to the police, because there has been much more severe situations that I've been in.
What had he, obviously you don't have to say, but what was it he'd done? Like,
he this was when I was on a school trip, okay?
So
he took my hand and put it on his dick, and I felt so uncomfortable. Like,
so like it was literally like physical, like he made like he got
my wrist like that, and because this person was a lot bigger than I was, okay, without giving too much details away, because I don't really want to.
No, it's fine.
Although, like, you know, I would want to say my story and stuff like that, I also know that this person isn't the same. Like, I know that they have grown, but they still did that to me. So it's like,
Yeah, they still did it,
I
though.
don't want to name and shame. Yeah, they still
That's
did it.
really interesting that you have that stance on it, because if it was me,
Yeah,
I would be naming and shaming. I did name and shame in school. I remember vividly me and another girl naming and shaming this guy.
oh, good.
He sent me so many nudes that I didn't want. Like, I would wake up and he would send them to me. And I would never ask. And Finton, I think we can both tell, I would never ask for them because I don't like Willie. I don't.
Just straight up, not a fan, to be honest.
I've made it very obvious that I am batting for both teams. And if I had to choose one.
See that? We've got diversity on this show.
Way!
Yeah? Love that.
Just as a, you don't have to answer this, Zoe, but because I've known you for a while, were you with Alex at this point?
No.
No, okay. Because that would have been more screwed up.
That's another situation. But
oh, okay.
I'm going to touch on another situation. I'm not going to name any names, not what relation they are to me, or not what time. Well, I'll say what time period, but I won't say anything else. So it happened in 2017. I remember the day. I'm not going to say the day, but it happened in October.
Just quickly interrupting. Yeah, it's fucking crazy how you've got so many stories. We asked you one question, and you've literally come out with 8 different fucking stories. That's how common this shit is, and I just want people that are watching to understand. This is literally me and Zoe. The only conversation we've had before this chat is 12 o'clock still all right? Yeah, sound. That was it. So this is my first time hearing a lot of this shit, and it's insane that it is so frequent. But I apologize for interrupting.
So one time in year 7, when we were coming back from Holy Trinity Church, so not the cathedral, Holy Trinity Church. Basically, this whole story is to show that, although schools get a bad rep for being shit when it comes to dealing with assault, harassment, or anything like that, really, which 9 times out of 10 they aren't the best. They're not great, but I'll go on to some solutions in a bizzle. But
good, because that's what I want.
Yeah, I've got solutions. I've got them all written
in abundance.
Yeah, I will be up in Prime Minister position soon. It's fine. But
fucking need it. Boris Johnson, fucking cunt.
I can see the resemblance between me and Boris Johnson. We've got little balding patches. Oh God, it's bad on that side.
I've got bits of hair that are a bit like Boris, but I think he is a proper bellend. But hopefully we'll have him on the podcast one day and I can call him a bellend to his face. But
you just get your head chopped off. Anyway, yeah, I remember walking back from Holy Trinity Church and a boy stuck his hand on my skirt walking. And I remember I screamed because I thought, what the fuck? In year 7, a boy in my year. And I remember I didn't cry about it initially because I thought, but sorry, I had to rep the Iron Brew there. But
Iron Brew, sponsor us.
Yeah, sponsor us, please.
Yeah, sponsor me instead. But I am running their company now, but I'm funding it. But yeah, I remember when we got back from school, me and my best friend at the time, not going to give the name because we're not best friends now, so but
happens.
I remember I cried to her. I was like, this person just stuck the hand up my skirt, and if you heard somebody scream, it was me. It was legitimately me. And I remember going to the teacher about it, and they were like, thank God it was a female teacher I went to, because there was another situation that happened in school where I went to a male teacher about it and they didn't do anything. And that was, but yeah, the school basically told him off, was like, that is a bad thing. Go apologize to her right now. We're going to put you, we're going to suspend you for 3 days or something. Because I think when you're at the age of year 7, you don't really know kind of why it's bad, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be honest, we went to the same school. That shouldn't be something that even goes
Because
through
you guys
it.
went to quite a religious school, didn't you, as well?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of
Uber
like,
religious.
yeah, I'm kind of surprised.
Part of me is kind of like, I feel like it's harder for religious schools to kind of not tell people off for doing, bad things that are like sexually motivated. Like, I'm not saying this person wanted to like get into my pants or anything like that. I understand that, like, in the context of why he did it was because every other boy was doing it to like every other girl. Yeah, it was a weird moment in year 7.
Like, my school was not like that. I know of, my school wasn't like this, but I can remember things happening in school where I thought, that's weird. I'm not gonna lie, I've even this particular manager isn't at my workplace anymore, and I won't go into what happened or anything like that, but I did see him do something once to one of the female workers, and I thought, that was fucking weird. Like, and I said to the girl afterwards, I was like, that was weird. Like, what the fuck? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so, but looking back now, I should have maybe said to him, what the fuck? I can't remember if I did or not. I know I definitely spoke to the girl about it, but like, there's just certain things that I don't know why these guys like think they can just do what they want. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, even now, I've just interrupted you. Sorry, I'm being a massive bella.
No.
Like,
no, it's fine. No confrontation, please. But there was another situation in school, and Finton, you might know who I'm going to talk about when I talk about. I think it's a very obvious person. If you're from Blue Coat and you're in our year group, you'll know who this person is. I'll send you a message.
There were some notorious boys in our year. That's all I'm gonna say.
Any repercussions? Like, we can name names on here and shit. Like,
oh yeah, I can name names. I've got a list. No, I don't have like a physical list. Like, I've got a list in my head.
In your head, yeah.
Would have done me wrong. But anyway, besides the point. There was a boy who, not that he was obsessed with me, because like he wasn't obsessed with me, but he would like chew on my hair, and he chewed on my hair, like just have my DNA.
Rewind. He would do what? He'd chew your hair.
Yeah, basically, like,
was he a camp?
You know how girls molt, like a lot of hair come out and like stuff like that. Well, I had hair on my blazer. He went on, so my blazer's like that. He went onto my blazer here, took it off, and put it in his mouth. But that isn't even the worst bit. He and his friend made a plan to rape me.
What?
Yeah, and I went to the school house, and they didn't do anything about it.
How did you find out about that?
He told me.
What? So he even fucking admitted it, and then the school did nothing about it.
I still remember that to this day.
What the fuck?
Like, and him and his friend, apparently they would talk about it quite a lot, to each other. And the friend didn't really like me. I didn't really like the friend. I thought he was a bit mean. He was like a mean person. I don't even think it's mental illness at this point. I think it genuinely is. Some people are just psychotic. But
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, you can hear her door go now.
Yeah.
I'm on a call. But so yeah, and then he threw a sharpener down my top once, and when I went to go take it out, because it was a sharpener, he snatched it out of my hand and put that in his mouth.
What?
Because obviously it gone.
A sharpener?
A sharpener, yeah. A sharpener.
Yeah.
And it came out a couple of years later that he was dating somebody underage, and obviously.
Oh, I know who you're on about now.
Yeah. I only had to say that, and I think we all know.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're on about now.
Wait,
I've got to be honest.
Just to make sure that we're on about the right person, because there's two people in mind that like fall into that.
Yeah, I did actually just think about that. I was like, wait, there was two that happened with.
Oh well.
I honestly, I don't know if just because we had very different friendship groups like before sixth form, because like we became friends in sixth form before that. I'm like, none of my mates would have ever thought of doing a thing like that, and if that would have happened, we would have decked them. Like, if we found out, they would have been mate. We genuinely did. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, we found out about one guy who did something, and the collective group of us just went mental at him.
Do you know what's funny? That happened at my school. Again, like not naming any names. I won't even get into what happened, but something about a guy came out and like he was just like shunned for the rest of his school life, and like no one spoke to him ever
I think
again.
it's the people that try and like either cover it up because they're their mate, or act like it was okay. I'm like, there is something wrong with you. You like
me and him, like quite. I wouldn't say we were good friends. We were good friends in primary school. Then in secondary school, we sort of met again. And then like it was weird, but yeah, man, yeah, I just remember that very vividly and thinking, what the fuck, and like, yeah.
A couple of my male friends recently have came to me and said, look, kind of like how do we know it's our friends? Like, what can we do, kind of thing. And I said to them, and I'm gonna say it here because I think it makes a lot of sense. Because you know how when you grow up and you have a daughter, you're like, men are usually like, well, I don't want you having a boyfriend till you're 21 because I know what men are like.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've used that kind of scenario because it happened to me. My dad said that. My dad was like, you think you're having a boyfriend? I think not.
I will slap your boyfriend. And
then I still went through the whole football team. But
female empowerment.
That was year 7, guys. But
fuck.
I'm joking.
So bad.
But yeah, I say to them, right, imagine you have a daughter. Would you want your daughter hanging out with your friends? You know, like pretend like your daughter is the same age as you guys now and your friends act the same way as they do to females now. Would you want them hanging out with them? If you can say no, then you know you've got a problem with your friends and you need to speak to them about it. If you can say yes, then you know you've got respectful friends.
Wait, say that again, because I can't lie to you guys. My internet cut out and everything just turned into robot static for me.
Don't worry, babes. But,
so if my friends acted...
Basically, if you have a daughter, okay, and you know your group of friends that you've got right now, would you want your daughter hanging out with people like your friends? Like, if you can say that, you know, that, so that's good. You know that you've got a good set of friends.
I mean, to be fair, my only mates are Gio and Will. So, and I like, no, but is it like male mates I'm actually close with? I only have 2. Like, majority of my mates are women. Like, it just how it is because I took a lot of subjects with loads of girls.
Majority of my mates.
Wow, like, ladies, I'm always saying hit up Finton. Turns out the whole time, Finton's been a player.
Nah, I'm friend zoned by all of them, mate. That's how it goes.
This guy's been using his platform to try and get girlfriends, and now look at him. He's got all the women.
Lout chaser.
That's just not
disgusting. No, I'm joking.
That's what I say to them. I can say, like, if you can put your daughter into that situation and know that your friends have done questionable things, you wouldn't want to risk it, would you?
I mean, for me, it's not even just about the daughter. It's like, can you, like, I've got a really close friend who, like, used to come to my house all the time. We're still, like, really close friends. He's not a weirdo or anything. Like, he's normal, don't worry. But, like, he used to come. The reason he doesn't come anymore is because he lives in a different country now.
Yeah.
But he used to come around to my house all the time, and like I've got a really young sister. Like, I could quite happily leave him in my house by himself with my family and be like, yeah, that's no problem. Or like, he's met my girlfriend. He's one of like my only friends that's like actually physically met my girlfriend, and like I could quite happily not be in the room and be like, yeah, and like it's safe, like nothing's gonna happen. But it's funny that you use that analogy, because I've never really thought of that before, and like thankfully I'm thinking about it now, and I'm like, yeah, like all my friends are safe. But
that's how I said it to a couple of my friends, because
the question
I know that a couple of my friends, they have some questionable friends.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, right? Is, let's say someone's listening to this right now and they're thinking about their friendship group, and they're like, would I leave my daughter, girlfriend, mum, sister, whatever? Would I leave them with that friend? And they think, actually, I don't know. Like, I don't think I would leave you with this particular friend, right? What would your advice be to that person? Because some of these people are like, they're not always bad people. Some people just are fucking idiots. Yeah. Quite simply. Or like, young boys, like some young boys don't realize that what they're doing, I'm again not excusing it, but they might not realize that what they're doing is like bad. Like I look back at how I used to be and I think that was questionable. Like when I was like 15, 16, like that wasn't like a very nice way to be.
Yeah.
And looking back now, I'm like, I would never be like that. But I didn't have a conversation with anybody about it. I just grew up. And I think a lot of people do just grow up and you grow out of being a fucking idiot, basically. But some people remain at the mental age of 15 up until their 30s because they're just stupid. But so like, say I had a friend who I was like, I wouldn't leave you with my little sister. What would your advice be to me to like make them realize that what they're doing is wrong?
Well, firstly, I don't want to speak for every female, but for me personally, what I would say is talk to your friends and say, look, what you're doing could be considered or could be misconstrued as you being or like showing signs of, you know, kind of being quite aggressive to women, or if they're saying stuff like, oh, well, I do this to a woman or I do that to a woman. I can understand, you know, you've got your Xbox like room where you say whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like I understand that. And I feel like that's a very different context. But if you're just having a normal conversation with somebody,
ladies, if they play Xbox, that's already a red flag. You know what I'm saying? If it's not PlayStation,
yeah, I think me and Gio can agree on this.
PC, guys.
If it's not PlayStation, PC, or occasionally Nintendo Switch.
Guys, I've been trying to play World of Warcraft recently. I just want to put that out there. But
World of Warcraft, I've never tried it. Never tried it.
I'm really addicted now.
I always thought about trying it, but was never willing to pay for it.
It looks too complicated for me. You know these RPGs where you've got like 50 things on every bit of the screen? I'm like, fuck that.
Nah, it's not that bad actually. Like if I can pick it up, anybody can pick it up. That's
It's not an RPG. It's an MMO. I stand corrected. I don't know how. I can't believe I just said that. But
yeah,
we're going off topic.
Wait, isn't it both? I swear to God, it's both.
If anyone wants to see a gaming podcast with Zoe, right, let us know because Zoe's into games. So I think that would be a cool episode to do eventually.
I mean, to be fair, this is Zoe. We can literally just talk about anything and it would be funny.
Yeah. We can talk about anime and I'll be fine. Like, I can just talk for days.
Oh, the amount of times that Zoe would come up to me in media with just anime videos. Like, she'd just come and sit next to me and be like, watch this because she knows I don't like anime. Would just make me watch it.
And that. It's like, what's going on? Like, who are you?
But, yeah, I would going back onto topic, but kind of I would say, you know, if they've done something physical to a girl and you know about it, I would really urge you to talk to them and say, look, this isn't right, okay? I want you to know that your mom has likely been in a situation like that.
Okay.
But if it's something like talking and say, oh, I'll do so and so to somebody, obviously it's not to the same degree, but it can have the same lasting effects. Just as somebody made a rape plan about me doesn't, like, obviously that was verbal, you know, like, doesn't mean that I wouldn't be as scared as if, you know, I had been like assaulted or something. Like, I still felt very, very, very unsafe. I think we need to kind of, like, I think conversation is where it starts, because what I found recently is that when it's, you know, a guy talking to a guy, they usually listen. When it's a girl talking to a guy, like, obviously you guys are listening to me, which is great, but like talking like in a kind of more general sense, you do get a lot more impact because that's your friend, firstly, and secondly, it's the same gender. It's like, it usually works like that anyway, because that's more like, it's like to do with psychology. I was reading about it the other day, but
I think our generation's getting, but like I always say this, right? I think our generation is, despite all the flaws, is good, because I think the guys like growing up now are a lot more understanding. Maybe not all of them, obviously, but I think like things like racism still prevalent and exist and is awful, and I'd like to do a topic discussion on that as well. I think if that's something people want to see, let us know and we'll find somebody to talk about that. But things like racism, stuff like that, I think with our generation is hopefully not going to be as prevalent as it is. But even like things like I bring that up, but that's a different topic. Obviously, things like sexual assault and rape, like it's still very much a prevalent thing, but I think our generation is so much more aware of it, and hopefully
I
can.
must admit, if I was to get into an Uber and I saw that the person was kind of like young, I would feel a lot more unsafe than if they
Really?
were kind of like an old friendly dude. Like I think that's just like a personal thing, because a lot of things that have happened.
Why is that?
Well, I think it's more because I think it's more kind of personal and like more of a psychological thing with me, that I have it in my head that because of a lot of things that have happened to me are people around the same age as me, or kind of like younger people, that I'm more in danger. But like obviously when I'm walking down the street, I'm not gonna be like, you're gonna rape me, you're gonna rape me,
Yeah.
you're gonna rape me. Like I don't do that. I do
Yeah.
still, like, Alex doesn't let me walk on, like, if it's at night, like he will come with me, and I think that's one thing. Like, even if you're friends with a girl and you're just like hanging out and stuff, do not let her walk on her own. If she's taking the bus, you stay at the bus stop with her until she gets onto the bus. Okay. Even if she's going into an Uber, ask her for the code, because although like just because I remember one time it was me, Alex, and a group of other people, because he used to live in an accommodation like with a load of guys and stuff, so I was kind of friends with them. We all got along, but we were going to their freshers event thing, where where in Coventry where you get loads of discounts and it's great, and you just like
yeah.
We were at that.
Really
Was walking down Gloucester Street, and even though I was with a group of guys and my own boyfriend, a guy still shouted at me and said, "Oh, you got a nice ass." Like, I know, but
See, if that was me, I'd lose all composure. I can't lie. I'd end up. Alex
being like, "What the fuck," And then I remember just us walking off. I felt really, really awkward because I'm sorry, I just come back from school. I was in like, bear in mind I was sixth form, so it's kind of like it wasn't like uniform, but you still had to wear smart clothes.
Yeah, but I saw you every day in sixth form. Like nothing about that would be like, why would you shout at the street at somebody?
I thought you were about to say nothing like that would be quite appeling. I was like,
no. I just meant as in like nothing's.
Where are you going with this?
No, because like we had a no. But it's like we had like a specific sixth form dress code, so you have to wear a certain standard of thing, and it's just like, just.
It's like it would be very, business work. Like you wouldn't go like it's like a very corporate kind of clothing environment thing. So,
great.
Like the one time I wear a skirt and that happened.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that was. But like, also check on your female friends for the next couple of weeks, because it's a hard time having to see sexual assault, sexual harassment, rape, coercion, all of that like blasted on the news. It's very, very hard. It's just as when the Black Lives Matter like protests were happening and stuff like that. It was very hard for a lot of people who were people of color, who like it was hard for them to see everything blasted in one big go. Like, just check on everybody. And one thing that I do want to touch upon is women of people of color and like trans women and stuff like that.
I'm glad, because I was just thinking I'd love to have this conversation with a woman of color, because I hear a lot. Like, I follow this page called, I think it's called The Melanin Shade in the Room, right? And I follow it because it's really, really interesting to see how like especially Black people are treated by like media or just in general, and like the shit that I see on there, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's so insane to think that just because somebody's of a different skin color, they get treated this way. And like sometimes I'm reading the stuff on there and I'm like, this cannot possibly be real, but it is real. And so I'd love to get somebody like a woman of color on the podcast to talk about this same topic, but from a person of color's perspective, because obviously
I'm white. I've never been
exactly
hated and stuff like that. I've never like been in that situation, so I don't want to personally like speak, like obviously I want to raise awareness for it, but I don't want to speak personally on it because I've never been in that situation. So but like one thing that I would like to touch upon is the trans women and how they get treated.
Definitely.
Because they are more likely to be hate crimed. Like they are. It's like common knowledge, it's common fact, but it should not be common practice. I
think with that, there's a lot of ignorance around it. Like even me, like I'm very, very ignorant on the subject. Like I will quite openly say, like I don't really understand how it all works. But just because I don't understand it doesn't mean I fucking hate transgender people. Like no, if anything, I'd actually, I think I know somebody who has transitioned, and maybe it would be interesting to have them on the show and we could just have like an open discussion about it, because again, like it's just like a different way of living. It's just being your own person, you know? Like, I don't know.
It's hard because like, not to stereotype people who do catcall, but people who do catcall, like 9 times out of 10 are kind of like your lads kind of people, you know?
Basically like, white 25-year-old men.
Yeah. Like they are lads. And like, I don't want to say all lads, you know, you're not allowed to go to the pub, you're not allowed to have beer, you're not allowed to have a desperado now and then. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying from my personal experience, I obviously don't want to speak on like people who are trans and stuff like that. But like from, you know, it is the lads who do catcall, and like 9 times out of 10, when a guy does catcall a trans woman and a trans woman does reply, then they're going to be in such worse position than if it was me who was replying saying like fuck you or something, you know, because I think there's a lot of societal issues when it comes to women of color, like trans women. Just like it is a bad societal thing that I think we need to like educate men and women on. Like one thing I would like to see is in the education system, especially for like PSHE, even though people don't really listen to PSHE, I want there to be something where we can talk about sexual harassment, we can talk about sexual assault, we can talk about rape, coercion, and it be like a conversation instead of saying
it's like I was just thinking about it today and I was like, this episode to a lot of people is like a bit left field, a bit random maybe, and I was just like, why though? Like, why have we made this shit so taboo to talk about as a society? Like, it should just be, if somebody has experienced sexual assault, obviously, first of all, they shouldn't be experiencing sexual assault, number one. But if they have, it should just be a thing of, oh really, okay, let's fix that, let's solve it, you know what I'm saying, let's get to the root of the issue. Whereas again, like something kind of off topic, but it links into what I'm saying. I think men, because I've noticed myself doing it, right? I'll see something on Instagram and it'll be like, oh, white men don't understand this, white men don't understand that. And I'm a bit like, why don't I? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, my initial reaction is like, why don't I though? Like, why would you say that? And then I'm like, but I don't, to be fair. Like, I don't understand it and I never will, because no, I'm not a woman, and no, I'm not a black man, and I'm not a woman of color. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so no, you won't understand these things. And I think a lot of men get offended by this and then take it to the next level and just decide to argue against it. And it's like, you're not understanding the point. Like, the point is, you just don't understand, and you never will. And you're lucky because you're never going to have to, because 9 times out of 10, you will never be in that position as a white man. Like, it just doesn't really happen. And like people are probably going to like watch this and be like, oh, you're such a pick me. Oh, you just want to get along with Fuck you. I don't give a shit what you think about me. The reality is just that. And like, white privilege does exist. And it, like, I was a person who for ages, I was like, does it? It does, just because shit like you're just saying, like walking down the street, it's, people misunderstand what white privilege is. Like, white privilege and white male privilege isn't we have bonuses in life. It's we experience life the way that everybody should experience life, and not everybody else gets. Women don't get to go out at night and walk down the street and feel safe. And there will be men that go, well, neither do I. I wouldn't go out in Coventry past midnight for a fucking late night walk. There's no fucking way, because I know what Coventry is like. But elsewhere in the world, men can do that. But women can't. And like, if I go to the shop, I don't get followed around. It just doesn't happen to me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's one of the big issues is men and just men in general get offended when women say men are the problem when men are the problem. Like, it don't make no sense. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
say that, you know, in history, women haven't, you know, abused men, women haven't assaulted men or haven't assaulted women or anything. I'm never going to say that, because there are cases. Like, if you take Eileen Wuornos, for instance, she started like butchering men, but like,
I mean, look at Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Like, they were both as bad as each other.
Get this story.
I'm sorry for Johnny Depp, but like, he did do what she said he did, but also he gave as much as he did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But to touch upon when you said that, like, when you walk down the street, you wouldn't want to. I think there are very different reasons as to why men and women won't want to walk down the street at night. Like, I think women are scared because they're going to get raped, murdered, you know, they're going to get abducted. Whereas I think men, like, correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm generalizing, but like, men kind of like are more worried that they'll get beaten up or they'll get jumped.
This is absolutely what I was thinking about. Like, sorry to cut you off, but like, I was literally thinking about this yesterday, because one of my friends, I don't know if you'd know them, but they're in the year below us, and they were telling me what happened to them when they walked home from school. Like, we walked the exact same road, like the road from school, and like, I've worried about getting like jumped by somebody, but I've never worried about the stuff. Yeah, but I've never worried about the stuff that happens to her, like, and that's happened on a regular basis. Like, I'm not going to go into it because it's her information, but it genuinely made me sick to my stomach. I was like, I've never once thought that would happen to me, and that's happened to you regularly.
That's just the reality. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think it's important for especially men now to understand, like, the reason there is so much frustration. And it's not just frustration. Well, obviously I don't know because I'm not a woman, but I imagine it's not you hate men. It's just that, like, you hate the fact that we don't understand the struggle you just go through on a daily basis.
As a woman, we don't want you to understand. That's the whole thing. We don't want you. We don't want you to be raped. We don't want you to be, you know, assaulted. We don't want you to be harassed. We don't want you to be coerced into feeling anything. And I think where the frustration comes is the fact that, like, although we don't want you to be raped or anything like that, the fact that you can't, like, understand why we are frustrated is frustrating. Like,
yeah, definitely.
It's more kind of the response that is being a massive issue recently. Like, I had an argument with somebody.
This is not all men thing. Like, what the fuck is that about? Like, no one ever said it was all men. Like, I haven't seen one tweet.
I have seen a couple of people say, you know, it is all men that do something like that. And I do.
That's crazy.
I obviously, you don't believe all men. Like, I would like to think that, you know, my granddad isn't a rapist. I would like to think that, you know, like I would like to think that you two aren't rapists or sexual assaulters or anything.
Pretty sure I'm not. Do you know what I mean? Last time I checked.
Great, good. I'm
happy about that. Pretty sure.
Do the bare minimum, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I gave the example to somebody who put on their story, like, I don't really understand. And I said to him, look, say if one dog bites you, okay, you've been bitten by a dog, okay, and then like you've had that, you know, you've had that kind
fear
of
of dogs then.
Yeah, you're now scared of dogs. But does that mean all dogs are going to bite you? No, because you might have a little rat chihuahua that's just going to be like, but like,
chihuahua.
Oh, I hate chihuahuas. I'm so scared of them. Like, I'm more scared of chihuahuas than I am of anything else. Like, they are.
Same, because they're so aggressive for no reason. Anyway. Back to what we were saying.
But I explained it like that because, like, although you can be scared of everybody, or you can be scared that every man will do something, but you know not all men will do it. You know, because I personally have been in situations where alcohol has been, you know, like introduced into the situation. And like, I've known people who I never thought would do anything like that, who when introduced with alcohol do things like that. And like,
guys, we're really sorry, but technical problems. This is the reality of COVID basically.
But Zoom being trash.
Is Zoom being trash, yeah, basically. But we're back. Zoe's still here. We've sort of on borrowed time, but I just want to, like, what are like the 3 big things that you think men could do better with? Just help them feel more secure.
So firstly, men, checking up on your female friends, making sure that they're okay, because like, although you may not think it, but probably when they're in like a club setting, especially when clubs and pubs are going to be opening up soon. I say soon, but it's like a couple of months, but still, like, it's soon.
Soon?
Yeah, I mean, soon, a new blue passport. But like, when the pubs open up and the clubs open up, like, make sure check on your like friends that are girls. Okay, make sure that like when they go get their drinks, that you go with them. Okay, you always want to have a male with you. As a female, like, I would always prefer to have a male with me to come get my drink with me, because 2 people that I know who I'm really good friends with have been drugged. It just in Collie itself, like, which isn't great. Like, and I've got 10 friends, like, you know.
10 friends sounds like a lot to me. I can't lie.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wow, I have like 3.
I don't even know if I've got 10 friends like that. But
what you want about? But like, please make sure that when they are getting their drinks, you are there watching the drink at all times. Okay, because there will be some creeps, there will be some men that will come with some cat or some drugs of some sort, and will put it into girls' drinks. And if you're a girl, never leave your girl in the toilets. Okay, always go with somebody to the toilets. That's like one unwritten rule as a girl that we always get told: do not go to the toilets on your own. Okay. Same with guys, don't, because, you know.
I'll just say, on that point about the drinks, girls, I know when you're out, it is nice to be like bought drinks and shit, but if a random fucking guy buys you a drink, first of all, just don't drink it. Second of all, if you do fancy a drink, tell him to drink it first. If he says, nah, I'm all right, it doesn't matter if he just wants you to drink it, just don't fucking drink it. Just don't take the risk.
If you do want a free drink from a guy, what I do recommend, not that I've done it before, because I haven't, because I've got...
He definitely has.
Yeah, you absolutely have.
I haven't. I get other people to do it for me instead. But anyway.
I see. Big brain.
But what I recommend is going up to the counter with that person. Make sure they haven't already bought it. Just say, oh no, like, you know, if they've already bought it and they're offering it and you haven't seen the transaction, you know, do not take it. But if they offer to come with you to the bar, you make sure you put your hand on top of the cup. And one thing that I do recommend for girls to buy, and guys at that, because guys do get drugged, guys, you know, there's these like, it's like silicone. It goes over the top of cups. And I was going to order one, but then the pandemic hit. So I was like, maybe not.
Waste of money.
But they go over the top of your cups, so nobody can put anything in, nobody can put anything out. So even when you're dancing and you're like that, sometimes it's been seen that people drop stuff in when you're just dancing like that. So if you've got your silicone top on there. Secondly, no spillage, you know, gotta keep all the alcohol in.
Yeah, come on.
I do recommend that for everybody. Thirdly, if you are, or you see a friend who's in a situation where they look like they have been drugged, what I urge everybody to do is look at the signs and all the symptoms of people who are A, having an overdose, B, on different substances. So for instance, ketamine, cocaine, you'll see their eyes blow up, okay? And like, you'll see them being a little bit more erratic, you know, all of that. Like, you need to educate yourself on kind of what it looks like, just so you know. So if something happens, you can get like a bodyguard, you can get somebody, you can call an ambulance, and you can get them off to get treated. Because one of my friends who did get drugged, nobody had spotted it until she was in a really, really bad space, you know.
Okay.
To the point that she completely blacked out in the back of her family's car.
God.
Because like she was obviously throwing up everywhere. Just
at least she was with her family though, you know, thank God.
Well, no, she wasn't at that point. She was in the club, like throwing up profusely, to the point that she didn't know her name, all of this. And they luckily were like, yo, she's probably drunk or something. Let's call her family to come pick her up. Yeah. But if somebody hadn't noticed that her pupils had blown up, you know, that she'd lost all colour, you know, she wasn't functioning. She was like, she gets like quite shaky. Sometimes you can get like quite jittery. If you see somebody's jaw like going at it, okay, you need to go tell somebody, because legally with paramedics and stuff like that, they can't call the police if it's like drug induced and stuff like that. So say like somebody has taken a pill, or like has been like, you know, a pill's been given to them. I don't know how you would like.
The thing is, the reality of life is, if you're going out to clubs and shit, you're probably going to do some drugs. Like,
yeah, guys and girls, be
for
safe.
me, I'm not on it. Some of you probably will. If you're already on stuff and then other people are like throwing things in your drinks and shit, like as a friend, if you know that is what is going on, like you're not being disloyal by telling a paramedic like what your friend has been taking, because like Zoe said,
you need
can't
to
tell.
Because there were some circumstances where like, you know what legal highs are, right?
Yeah.
So nobody ever really knows what is in those.
Like salt and
paint stripper, like it's fucked up stuff. But if you know what it's called, so say one common one is called Pandora. I only know this because I had to learn it for streetwear. So let's not pretend but yeah, that's another thing. I recommend streetwear to like anybody if they can.
Yeah, I regret I didn't do that. Like looking back, I'm like, I should have done it when you did it.
It's great. Like honestly,
you know what we'll do? Again, because like I said, we're on borrowed time, but this has been a really, really good episode, and like I've already said, I want to explore this more. But I'm aware we're on borrowed time. What we'll do is, can you send us like just a bunch of like resources, like that streetwear stuff like that, and we'll just put it all in the description of the video. Well, as much as YouTube lets us, we'll put it all in the description. And then if you are someone that has been assaulted before, needs help with like mental health or just whatever, like we know it's
toilets, they have stuff that you can say to the bar if you've just been assaulted, or you're like something, you can ask for a certain drink and they will like bring like a little alarm underneath the bar and it will come bring a bodyguard to you. That's something good that I think is quite nice. But I think also
that's
men,
really good.
That's great.
I never knew that was like a thing. Like,
well, I don't know if they have it in JJ's. I know they have it in Collie. I think it's called like Ask Amber or something like that. Like you ask for a certain drink.
Yeah, that's a universal pub thing, isn't it? Because I remember reading about that. That's like that's in most places.
Yeah, obviously I've never had to use it, which is great. But
yeah, thank God.
Check up on your friends, like at any like time. If you can see that their moods are fluctuating rapidly between different like things. So say one day they're really happy, the next they're really sad. Check up on them, because 9 times out of 10 something is going on. Okay, and especially in a climate like this where a lot of sexual harassment and a lot of stories are being, you know, thrown to the forefront, it can be hard for a lot of women and a lot of men who have dealt with sexual assault, harassment, coercion and rape to kind of like take all of that in, you know. It's like, and it's also a lot for you guys having to hear your friends say, oh, this has happened to me, this has happened to me, this has happened to me. So make sure you know, as guys, if girls are coming to you saying stories, that they have kind of like dealt with that themselves, and so that isn't for you to deal with. Okay, so don't take that on and think, oh my god, so much has happened to this one person. But yeah, so that's my 3.
Just a little thing that to add on to that, don't make it about you. Like,
yeah, absolutely,
not about you. Like, it's okay to say to them, like, you know, I feel for you and it makes me sad for you, but don't make them have to comfort you about comforting them.
Yeah.
Like, simple. Don't do shit like that. What's the point? But those are all really, 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 really interesting. Another thing, like stuff that I've been seeing on social. This episode's not as long as I wanted it to be, but we'll do another one.
Yeah, sorry, that's my bad.
No, it's okay. Like stuff that I've been seeing on social media is like if you're walking out at night, like cross the road maybe, or you know, stuff like that. So just bear that in mind, maybe.
Yeah. If you're a guy and you've been not following a girl, but like if you see a girl has been in front of you for like 5-10 minutes, just cross the street. You know, like I know you'll be like, well, that's just inconvenient.
Your internet mate went. No, we can hear you. It's Gio that went. He froze completely on my screen.
My Wi-Fi said no. My Wi-Fi said no.
He was just frozen like this.
I was just saying. Oh well, hopefully you guys filled in for me. I'm sure you did me. I'm sure you did me justice.
Yeah.
But I think this has been a really, really good episode. So how are you feeling on it? Like, do you think?
Yeah, thank you for letting me on. Obviously, I don't want to be that person that's like not all men, all men are shit. Yeah. Like,
no, of
there
course.
are far too many men. Like, likelihood is somebody who's done something bad, and you just need to talk to them about it because they probably don't understand that they've done something bad. And I think with education,
that isn't an excuse, by the way. It's just
yeah.
It's okay to not understand what you've done as long as then afterwards you work on yourself and you fix it.
Yeah, because I've seen a few people who are guys who have started apologizing to girls that they've realized that they've done something wrong, which I think is so heroic of them to do. Because
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't say it's heroic. I think
to take accountability.
Yeah, that's great. But
I've sexually harassed you. I touched you when you didn't want that, and I'm sorry for that. I didn't realize that, like, the lasting effects of what's happened until now. Obviously, it shouldn't have been until now, and it shouldn't have been. Oh, I've touched you. Like that shouldn't be there. But it's going to happen. Whether it should or shouldn't.
Things are okay. Like, it's okay to not necessarily understand what you've done.
Yeah.
Especially now, like, if you've watched this episode and you've looked back and you think, like, even I said earlier, like, when I look back at when I was like 14, 15, 16, like, I was a bit of a prick. Like, I didn't like touch anyone inappropriately or anything like that, but maybe like I said things that I shouldn't have said. Like, I think a lot of people probably have, and like, it's not an excuse, but if you recognize that and you say that wasn't right of me, I need to move on. I need to.
I think as long as you understand it, then it's so much better. Like, if you sit there and like, especially like, if you're at this point now, like we're all like 18 or 19, if you still at this point don't realize what you've done wrong, then I'm like, somebody probably you need to have a detailed like conversation with somebody. But like you just said, man, like if you go from like 14, 15 and you look back now without help from anybody and you're like, yeah, what I did then was kind of screwed up, then I think that's the best way of showing that you've actually grown.
That's another thing that I just want to say is, like, stop treating this topic like it's taboo. You know what I'm saying?
It's really not, man. It gets on my nerves.
Things like this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we could have had this conversation very easily, just us three by ourselves. But obviously, the point of this was to just get it out to other people. Like, maybe you do struggle with talking about these type of things. Like, it's okay to, like, you don't know me, Finton and Zoe, but maybe if you need a bit of help, you can reach out to us. Obviously, like, we're strangers, so I won't be able to.
Yeah, I mean, like, if anybody wants to reach out to me and have a conversation about it, I'm more than happy. Like, even
I will put her Instagram in the description.
Yeah, if you don't agree with me on something, we can have a chat about it, because I can acknowledge that there'll be some things that I've said that maybe somebody doesn't agree with, and we can have a conversation, whether it's a boy or a girl. But another thing for guys is talk to your mother, talk to your sibling. Like, if you've got a daughter, not a daughter, Jesus. If you've got like a sister, or if you've got like a girlfriend, talk to them about it, because they've probably got a story, and I feel like it hits home a lot more if you know the person. But
I do have to go now, but I mean, if you two want, I can just make you host, Gio, and you can carry this on.
I don't feel right doing it without you, mate. I think
Yeah,
wrap up here, that's okay.
I've been bursting for about 2 hours now. So.
Fair enough.
We'll let you go then. Thank you for coming on.
Is going through. That's.
But yeah, man, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being so candid and talking to us. And
thank you all for having me.
We might try to do a part 2 with Zoe.
Absolutely.
We'll have the same conversation.
To be fair, I think do a part 2 with another woman who is either of colour or,
If you are like of colour, if you are just a woman, if you are a transgender woman, anything, like if you want to talk about this, please reach out to me, Clinton, or like we have an Instagram set up just for this show. Reach out to us, let us know, we'll happily have you on. Like, we want to talk about these things. It's really
I think the more we talk about it, the easier it's going to get, because I feel like it's becoming so annoying that so many people are unwilling to talk about stuff. Like, it's not that, it's so easy to have a conversation, but people make it seem like it's so difficult.
It's too common to be taboo. That's how
absolutely.
I saw that. I was like, wow, it's a quote I can use.
That is great. But yeah, like, thank you all for watching this episode. It's obviously been a lot more serious than usual, but it was a topic that needed to be discussed. So here we are. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.